Welcome back to Highlander Reviews podcast. I'm Kellen Barger, and with me I got Joshua Breeden and Tyler Hunt.
Hello.
Hola, what's up?
Nothing much.
Tyler stole my Ola. I said that all on our radio show. You stole my Ola. How dare you?
Stole his thing.
Exactly.
Okay. He's bilingual, guys. I never heard of that country, but okay.
All right.
Anyways, today we got another album from Josh that's kind of similar to the last one, because if you couldn't tell by now, Josh is a metalhead.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so Ride the Lightning by Metallica, if you couldn't tell from the thumbnail or title. So, before we start, how were you introduced to this album, Tyler? Or even Metallica as a whole?
You mean me?
I meant Josh. Yeah, how about you, Tyler? Tell us.
Yeah, Tyler, come on.
Enlighten us.
This is a terrible album by Josh. Thank you very much.
All right. I remember I was in middle school. A very, I guess we could say, angsty time for me. I was very picked on. I was very bullied when I was in middle school. It wasn't the best time. Yeah, it wasn't the best time for me. And around 7th grade, I got into, because I used to go with I liked the British heavy metal. I liked Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, Motorhead, stuff like that. And my friend introduced me to Master of Puppets by Metallica, the song and the album, which loved to death, and I loved them. So I went back to some of their earlier works, which is only 2 albums to be fair, and then Ride the Lightning. That is my favorite Metallica album, one of my favorite albums of all time. It is, and I just had that on repeat for the rest of middle school. I still listen to it to this day, and this album hosts my favorite song of all time.
Which would be?
Fade to Black.
It's very good.
It's amazing.
Josh was actually the first to introduce me to Fade to Black, because I posted an Instagram story where I was just asking for music. He suggests that. I listened to that. I instantly added it. So very good. I loved it. I'm so glad he showed it to me.
Oh, it was a very... did I even tell you? I don't think I told you why I picked it. Why I sent it to you on your story. It was because I was listening to one of the songs on the album that we're going to get to. It's called For Whom the Bell Tolls. Mm-hmm. And then I saw that your story went up. And I was going to originally send you For Whom the Bell Tolls. But I was like, what would Kellen enjoy out of these songs? Because I knew I was going to pick this album that week. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to say Fade to Black, because that's my favorite song. I'm going to see if he likes it before we even review the album.
Yeah, I very much liked it, yes.
Glad to hear it.
Good choice. Will you have something to say, Tyler?
Fade to Black, man. It is... I actually said it was my favorite up to that point. Not my favorite on the album, but up to that point, it was my favorite.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay, I have one. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm not going to say, if you say later on, because I know this album track to track, if you say one specific song is your favorite, I'm going to do a cartwheel in this room.
Okay.
Okay. We'll get to it later.
But we'll get to that.
Okay. Before we get to that, let's just let's get some facts out of the way for the album, and I suppose Metallica a little bit. Well, it's the album. It's mostly the album. Anyways, this album was released July 27th of 1984. I don't know why that year sticks out, but anyways, it went platinum 6 times apparently. It is what?
I said that's actually really. You don't hear a lot of albums that go 6-time platinum.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's super good.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anything about platinum or going gold or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Or even going myrrh. I don't know. That's Christian rock.
That's awesome.
Myrrh and frankincense.
That's funny.
Anyways, I can't take credit for that joke. That was a South Park joke. Anyways.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Anyways, it's number 11 on Rolling Stone's top 100 metal albums. It went to number 48 on the Billboard 200. And right before they started recording the album, they had recently gotten all their equipment stolen. So apparently that's a big step back.
Yeah, that is actually important because we're gonna get into Fade to Black, which we mentioned before. That event of them getting all their stuff stolen led to the creation of that song.
Really?
hmm
Okay. Do you know if they ever found the guys that stole the equipment, Josh?
I mean, at that point, I don't think they did, but at the same time, with the success that Ride the Lightning had, and then a few years later with Master of Puppets, they probably bought that equipment back and plus 10 times better stuff.
Okay. So that's good to hear. Anyways, we got a Rolling Stone quote considering Ride the Lightning. 30 years later, Ride the Lightning stands out in the group's catalog as the album that introduced melody to its arsenal. Songs like the heavy ballad Fade to Black and the crushing For Whom the Bell Tolls would serve as blueprints for later Metallica hits like Nothing Else Matters and Sad But True. And the eerie 9-minute instrumental The Call of Cthulhu demonstrated their range. The single Creeping Death has become a concert staple, whatever. Thanks to the way it can get tens of thousands of metalheads at a time to chant "Die, die, die" along with the outro.
Heck yeah.
Is
It doesn't get better. I'm telling you, we're going to get into Creeping Death later. Creeping Death, there are some, and another thing I want to point out, on YouTube, there's some pretty cool drum covers of Creeping Death. Those are fun to see.
I should actually check that out now that you mentioned that. Okay.
I actually pointed out the drums in my review of that song. So
The drums are so awesome.
but
Yeah.
spoiler, that is not my favorite song on the album. If that's what you were thinking.
It's not what I was thinking, but
Shame on
it
you.
is. Yeah, it's not what I was thinking, but it is a good one.
Anyways, yeah. So I'm just gonna say outright, this album doesn't really stand out to me in particular. But what I do think about it is that it is a great example, a great poster boy for like what someone should think when they think Metallica or heavy metal. I feel like if you just want like a standard heavy metal song or album, you would go with anything on this album.
Absolutely.
I just think it's phenomenal, but I don't feel like it's anything amazing compared to what I can just hear on a daily basis. Except for Fade to Black. Fade to Black is something else. I'll tell you outright, that's my favorite song.
Oh yeah, I could have guessed that. Don't worry.
Okay. So, let's start out. Fight Fire with Fire. I'd say, Josh, you should lead first since this is your album.
Yeah, Josh, let's hear it.
So when I told that brief story about how my friend introduced me, I specifically remember because I was at home. It was like January cold, like at night. It gets dark at like 5 o'clock. I remember like it was a very like kind of depressing time. You know, Christmas was over, all that stuff. And I remember it was snowing. It was dark outside. I was in my room. I turned off the lights and I hit, because I had never listened to the album before. First song, Fight Fire on Fire, that acoustic intro blew me away. And then you had that drop where the cymbals kind of come into play, and then it smacks you with its main riff.
Yeah, you mentioned acoustic intro. There's something about Metallica where they can just pull off acoustic guitar like no other, for me personally.
Oh, yeah.
Like, whenever you think metal, you don't think calm, like, acoustic opening. But Metallica kind of defies that, and it works out so well.
Yeah. It will throw you off.
Oh yeah, definitely. Before I go into my review, you have anything else to say?
I mean, I love this song to death. It's probably, I know there's only 8 songs on the album, so I'm gonna split down the middle. It's probably a top 4 song for me.
Nice.
I'll leave it at that. It's a great opening. The transition is so perfect, and it was basically, with the exception of Master of Puppets, my introduction to American heavy metal.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so here's the thing. As you all know, we listen to these albums from start to finish, first song to the last song. We don't shuffle them or anything. We don't just skim through. So what I like to do is I like to explain like if a song's good ending or opener, or if it's a good follow-up, or if it's about good lead into the end. Fight Fire with Fire is quite possibly the best song they could have picked for an opener on this album. I really do believe that. The acoustic guitar opening, you can hear that in many songs by Metallica alone, but picking this song, like specifically for the opener, it fits so well because it's just the acoustic guitar, but then it moves on to like the fast like kind of thing
Yep.
without drums or anything, without any like backup guitars or anything. It's just that it just leads you in. It's like the rising action. It is very much the rising action, and when it rises pretty well, in my opinion.
I'm very Tyler kind of smiled there. I'm very curious because he doesn't listen to metal music. I'm very curious to what you thought of this, because keep in mind, Def Leppard, that was British metal. If you remember Pyromania, and then here's American metal. I'm very curious what you thought when you heard I would say a big difference.
I'll say this: British metal is better than American metal, but that's just from what I've heard so far.
Okay, traitor.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my bad. No, but for real, Fight Fire with Fire. Fight Fire with Fire coming in at the lowest ranking on my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Save the Queen. Crumpets.
2 out of 10 for me.
2 out of 10. What?
If I had to give the rating, it'd be 2 out of 10. And okay, so the build-up was great, like you were saying, like y'all were talking about, and then they started singing. And it was terrible. It was like,
oh, pop my cereal.
Ear bleeding.
This is getting the impression is kind of getting up there.
And
look at this guy
like
saying.
I say that in almost every single song on here. As soon as they started singing, the song was ruined. There's exceptions, but
I know what your favorite is now, just from you saying that.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
What it is. I also like how I'm mocking him for saying British metal is better, and my favorite metal band is Iron Maiden. So like,
Iron Maiden rocks, though.
Iron Maiden's great, though.
All right.
And he's nodding his head like he agrees. No, you don't.
And after Fight Fire with Fire is Ride the Lightning, and as same title as the album. I want to hear what Josh has to say about that one.
Ride the Light, and this is like a fun fact. Metallica, before they had the classic 4 lineup, their original guitarist was Dave Mustaine. He got kicked out before they recorded this album, and he went on to form the band Megadeth.
I'm not gonna lie, I do prefer Megadeth over Metallica.
I mean, I'm not a big like Metallica is like I hate the argument of what's better, Metallica or Megadeth. They're still part of the big 4 of metal. I appreciate both bands and Slayer and Anthrax.
Definitely, because you got like one, but you also got Peace Sells. They're both amazing songs.
Absolutely. And Ride the Lightning, the writing credit was actually given to Dave Mustaine. He wrote a little bit of the song before he was kicked out, so I thought that was just fun to mention. I do know the story behind this. So the story behind Ride the Lightning, I'm going to mention this a lot because there's a lot of stories to these songs. Ride the Lightning is about a prisoner who is sentenced to death by electric chair, and this is taken
album cover, yeah.
And that takes this takes place the night before its execution, and you can hear in the lyrics where he's like, "How could this actually happen to me?" And like, the riff is so loud, and I'm gonna say it stings. The guitar is amazing. The story is great. I love this song.
See, weirdly enough, I do like this song, but this song feels like one of the most lackluster ones in the album to me.
It's a little bit underwhelming compared to others.
It is very underwhelming, especially whenever it's like the title track, which like usually when you think title track of like an album, it's supposed to be like the best. Like this is the one. Like Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo, the same song, phenomenal. But this song, I don't know. It just really doesn't really do much for me. I think it's fine. I'm not going to change a channel. Like if I switch like my satellite radio over to like Ozzy's Boneyard or something like that, and I'm just listening to that. It's like, okay, nice. This is something I can jam out to in the car. I have no issue with this. But on like an analytical standpoint, I see really nothing impressive, nothing to really go home about. So yeah, that's just my thoughts.
And it's not as bad as Fight Fire with Fire, that's for sure.
But it's the voice for you.
But correct, yes.
Tyler would be like, "Oh man, I hate the voice." Also likes Panic at the Disco.
I write. That's not how that works. I write the reviews as I'm listening. Okay, so like I'm writing as it's happening, and I said at the beginning it's okay because like the music, everything, it's how that's just good. It's good, and then just like previously, the singing starts and it's ruined for me.
All right, one thing I do want to point out, I do, as much as it seems that Tyler's like writing on vocals, and I do like James Hetfield as a vocalist. I do like that you kind of enjoy the instrumentals a little bit, because the amount of times I've air guitar and air drum to Metallica in my lifetime has to have reached 5,000. Yeah, at this point. So I'm glad you enjoy that part of the music. I love that.
At least I could get a little something out of listening to it.
A little something out of listening to it. That just sounds. It sounds like you're just disappointed overall with this album.
Man, can do it. Disappointed. All right. I think we should move on now to For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I'm going to make a proclamation. And there's a lot of bass players, and there's a lot of known rock and roll heavy metal groups that agree with this statement that For Whom the Bell Tolls has the greatest bass opening of all time.
Oh my god, yes. This bass opening is so unbelievably iconic.
Oh yeah.
I have heard many different variations and homages to this so many different times. Like a game I played a while back, and I still revisit every once in a while, Left 4 Dead. It actually takes some inspiration, I think, for a horror theme or something from this bass opening. It is so good, and when I hear this now, all I can think is oh yeah, Left 4 Dead do that. But now I'm gonna go back to Left 4 Dead, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's a very good song. It's definitely slower paced than the last one. Weirdly enough, since I when I first listened to this album, I was just playing some games while playing through it, so I wasn't paying full attention. I noticed this kind of somehow transitioned pretty well from the last song, Ride the Lightning. That's just me though. I can get why people would disagree with that, but this song, it kind of it fits so well with this album. This is probably the most fitting song in this album, I had to say. This song wouldn't be what it is without being in this album.
My big thing, and I actually kind of have a quick funny story. One thing I love about it is in the opening, I'm going to say 2 minutes, that you can hear a bell go off. It's part of the instrumental. And in 8th grade, I pulled a neck muscle because I would headbang at every bell ring. And I headbanged so hard, I had to leave school because I hurt my neck.
Jesus Christ.
That's so sad.
I'm telling you, this song is amazing. The vocals.
I applaud your dedication.
Yeah, I'm gonna fight Tyler's thing on vocals. There's little lyrics on this, but James Hetfield's voice on it, the tone and the aggression on it matches the song better than anything. And the final lyrics, being now will be blinded eyes to see. The amount of times I've quoted that in poetry and stuff I wrote as a kid, numerous times. I was shaking his head.
I mean, it's a 3 out of 10. It's
Tyler. You're a great friend, brother, but there's some things you say.
I completely agree with the opening. It's really
good.
It's really good.
Respect Cliff Burton.
You better.
But as you said, you wanted to fight me on it. It is the same as the
What did we say? We wanted to fight you on this.
No, I said I want to fight him.
You wanted to fight me on the vocals or the lyrics.
Okay.
I meant verbal fight, just to put it.
Yes. Previously, the 2 songs, it was the singing. This song, it is still the singing. That's it. Nothing else. There's nothing bad except for the singing. I like the lyrics. The lyrics are good, but if it was sung in a different, anything different, really, I feel like I'd like it a little bit more.
All right. So, okay, I do like to appreciate the lyrics. I get that, the aggression in the voice kind of turns you off to the music, but I just think it blends better than if it was just some guy who put out a 2016 alternative rock album that we reviewed a couple weeks ago. I get that if that's your vibe, but I'm backing up James Hetfield all the way, and that's all I had to say on For Whom the Bell Tolls.
That was so condescending. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, it's okay. It's whatever. Okay.
But to even it out, I suppose you said like the aggressive like vocals turn them off. I'm just thinking like loud man scary.
Loud man scary.
Oh no, Tyler, don't shake your head at me, please.
All right.
Anyways,
so,
let's move on from Fade to Black.
Yeah.
Josh, do you want to take this one because I do as well?
Fade to Black. Back when we did our episode on the Dark Side of the Moon, there's a song called Us and Them. And what I said in that podcast was there's 2 times in my life I ever cried when listening to a song for the first time. One was Us and Them by Pink Floyd, and the other was Fade to Black by Metallica. The acoustic riff is the greatest acoustic guitar riff of all time. It's amazing. The drums are the mix with the drums is so perfect. The bass is well heard. The guitar solo at the end of it, and the way in the beginning when the acoustic and the electric blend together, and James Hetfield's voice not being as loud and kind of is more melodic. It's a power ballad. I'll admit it. When I heard this like 5 years ago, I cried, and it's a beautiful song and my favorite song of all time.
Yeah, and I'll let you wrap up the song. I'll let a better opinion close out this song.
I actually like that. I like that.
I agree with that. My opinion is better.
I don't want to respect Josh as this being his favorite song of all time.
I thought you meant my opinion's better than yours.
But no, okay. It is better than mine. It is better than mine. But I just want to close. I don't want to end this song on a bad note, saying how important it is.
All right, I like that.
So, like the name says, Fade to Black. I hope that meant that it would be the end of the album.
Okay.
But, it wasn't, and I had to continue listening to music that I thoroughly hate. But if this was on the radio, I wouldn't choose to skip it.
That's what I'm here for, folks. Getting one song that Tyler can tolerate on the radio.
I mean, I actually kind of liked it. So it wasn't bad.
Slowly but surely, Tyler. You're going to be
coming around.
All right, I like that.
Go ahead, Kellen. Leave it better than I did.
Well, okay, so this song opens up. It's very light. You just have the do 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 do. It's so good. And then this is I'm going brain dead. My monkey brain right now. So you just hear the distant guitar riffs, and it's like, okay, this is really leading up to something. But then you start kicking up with like the much more intense acoustic riffs, and like this is what kind of sold the song for me. I never realized it until I listened to this song that power ballads are something I heavily enjoy.
Amen.
Yeah, because this song is just slow, it's methodical, it's great, I love it. And then in the middle, I thought it's about to close, but then it starts kicking up like heavily around the 4-minute mark. I'm just like, this song has a great peak. It has a great peak, it has a great rising action. I absolutely love it. This is most definitely my favorite song on the album. I listened to this on repeat several times during like class, when I'm playing a game, when I'm like cleaning up at work and whatnot. I just listen to this so much, and I'm gonna keep doing that because this song will not get old for me.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention in my kind of rant, the lyrics are some of the best lyrics of all time. They're so depressing, and it's so like sung in a way, and like the thing that like literally threw people off, and why like all the people that hate metal, is the song is about suicide, but at the end, it's not about overcoming it. You actually, the person they're talking about actually submits to it. So like this song doesn't have a happy ending at all, but something about that ending guitar solo and that uplifting feeling makes it seem like a happy ending. And how they pull that off is some of the greatest music ever written.
Well, it just a lot of songs do that where it's like, oh, it's a really happy song, but then it's something like war or genocide or suicide or something like that. And and sometimes those kinds of music, they just feel gimmicky. They just don't feel really good. It's like, oh yeah, it's a happy song. I don't care about the lyrics anyways. Moving on. This song is just one of them where it's like you can either listen to the music and do or don't pay attention to the lyrics, and it's like this is still great. But like it feels like if you are actually listening to like what the message is, you are definitely getting the full experience that like you deserve.
One thing I do want to do, I'm really enjoyed it, Kellen. You liked it. I'm glad, and even Tyler to an extent. One thing I actually want to try out with you guys because the next two I want to kind of group up these next two songs, and I'll give you a reason why. The next two songs are "Trapped Under the Ice" and "Escape."
Let's go.
Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Trapped Under Ice and Escape. I put Trapped Under the Ice as my least favorite, but again, that's like being like, here's the cheapest diamond. It's still a diamond. They both have really, because I like them for the same reasons, and I don't like them for the same reasons. They both have amazing guitar riffs. James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett are gods. The drumming, Lars Ulrich has been a controversial drummer. I think his drums sound really good, but more professional drummers say, some even go as far as say he's terrible. I don't know what it's just like the flow of the songs kind of catch me off guard from Fade to Black. So I think that's what does it for me.
Kellen, you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, here's the thing about Trapped Under Ice. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's the worst song on this album. It's pretty pumped up. It's kind of what I expect from like high intensity, high octane, angry metal. I personally enjoy it. It's definitely a song that I could easily forget though. Same goes for Escape. Once again, I don't think Escape is that bad. I'd say my least favorite song on this playlist would probably be Call of Cthulhu, but Escape is also a forgettable song. In my opinion.
There's been a lot of good songs on it, and I think you word perfectly. Trapped on the Ice and Escape. When you think of the big hits off this, they're very forgotten about.
Yeah, definitely. They're very much overshadowed.
We're gonna see if Josh was correct here in a second. Being as Escape was my favorite song on the album.
I thought Call of Cthulhu was
your favorite. Because that's just an instrumental. There's no lyrics, and you said you hated it. You hated his voice. Really? Escape?
Yeah. Escape being my favorite. So Trapped Under the Ice is my it's my third on the third on the track. Third on it. It's a 4 out of 10. It's not good, but it's the guitar at the beginning is good. It's actually enjoyable to listen to, but the singing is kind of, But I actually enjoyed listening to Escape.
Wow.
And I at least enjoyed some of it, if not most of the song. And I would not choose to skip it. I wouldn't choose to skip it if it came on.
I'm a happy boy. I'm gonna say
I'm glad that there's one song on here that I could listen to with y'all, and we would all agree.
Now he's ready for yeah. Now he is ready for Slipknot, ladies and gentlemen. Just kidding.
Oh boy.
I want to talk about next song, "Creeping Death," my second favorite song off the album. The drums are like I talked about the last couple of songs. Hate on Lars Ulrich all you want. I love the drums to death. There's some great covers on YouTube from it. This song, Fade to Black, is the melodic stuff that I loved off this album, and Creeping Death hits you, and it's awesome. I love it. I know the story behind it. It basically covers the events of the Old Testament of the Bible, and it depicts Jesus as quote-unquote creeping death. It's through Jesus' first-person perspective. That's why the chorus said, "I'm creeping death." People, obviously, at the time, religious people were against it because it was depicting Jesus as this monstrous killing machine. But when you look at the core lyrics, those are actual events that happened in the Old Testament.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Old Testament's kind of weird.
It is.
I mean, the whole firstborn sacrifice, whatnot. Yeah, it's kind of insane.
We're not going to get into religion and stuff like this, but I think, but instrumentally, the songs, instruments are better than the lyrics itself. The guitar riff is insane. It's all over the place. And of course, the drums are phenomenal.
It's a very high octane song. It's also kind of forgettable for me as well, like Trapped Under Ice and Escape. But I feel like it's a lot better than Trapped Under Ice. I would definitely add this to my playlist. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it right now. Screw it. But
Great. So Tyler, you say you took a note on the drums. Did you actually you enjoy the drums?
Yeah, the drums and the guitar are very, very good.
And just did a fastball swish.
They're very good. The drums are. If there's a song that has good drums that you could just like you said air drum to, then that's like a really good time. So
absolutely,
I did enjoy the drums and stuff in that song. Not a lot of it, but the drums and the guitar. Yes.
2021, Tyler Hunt is going to be a metalhead. I swear it. I'm going to do my best. If I fail to do so, others pick up where I left off. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll help you. I'll help you.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. Whenever you're gone, I shall do it.
The last song, The Call of Cthulhu. This song, like I said, it's an instrumental. There's no lyrics. It's a very lengthy instrumental. The opening riff is amazing. That's probably my favorite part is the intro and the opening. I do say it's not one of my favorites because I do like James Hetfield's voice. But like people done research on it because it's like, I believe it's 8 or 10 minutes long. They break it down in specific timestamps and be like, here are the events. Like this is Cthulhu rising out of the ocean. Here's the attack. Here's the climax. Here's like the falling, the calmness after the storm. It's a well put together. Metallica's great at instrumentals. Even their next work, Master of Puppets with Orion, they're great. And I think even though the Call of Cthulhu, I get why people might say this is their least favorite song off the album, but the instruments are still amazing nonetheless.
You know, yeah, I really don't like this song, honestly. There's no real redeeming qualities about it for me. It's kind of boring. It's a good outro. I'll give it that. It's a really good outro. It's probably the perfect outro for this album.
Mm-hmm.
The opener's pretty nice. It's nice. That's basically all I have to give to it. This song seems really lengthy, so if like I know the full song's gonna be playing on like a radio station, which I doubt it would, or if like I see it in my playlist, I'd probably skip it because I'd rather listen to something that's I feel like I can listen to more of, or I can appreciate more. I feel like I'm doing this one dirty because I feel like this is a song I need to listen to a few times over, then I'll finally understand it. But otherwise, nah.
I don't think I could listen to it a few times over. Okay, yes, it's an instrumental. Okay, we get it. Cool. That's good. That's good.
Because you don't like the voice. I get it.
But it is a lengthy 8 minutes, and that is like I've said in previous albums. And then Kellen goes, "Oh, it's too long. It's too long." No, it is too long. Yes, correct. It is 100% too long. It is not bearable for me to sit here or do anything for 8 minutes and have that playing.
All right. Okay. Wow. So that went from what I would think would be your favorite song to a pretty good breakdown of the length. Interesting. That's basically that's the album. Really, that's all 8 songs. Any final thoughts before we get into our final rating?
I don't know. I don't know what I would say about this album. I do like Pyromania better. than this, but
I
this
get that.
isn't the worst thing that I've listened to at all. And I'm not gonna bring up the worst thing that I've listened to because
We know that's the money store.
plenty of arguments between me and Kellen about it. But yes, money store.
All right, I'm glad I didn't have the worst album to listen to. My final thoughts. What can I say about it? Obviously, me and Tyler's music opinions are obviously different. So I do like some of the stuff he doesn't like. It's very nostalgic for me. It's got my favorite song of all time. These songs literally just bring nostalgia. I pretty much memorize all the lyrics to all the songs. It is phenomenal, and like I said, one of my favorite albums of all time.
Okay, nice. So, yeah, so we're gonna give it a rating now, or what? You want to go first, Josh?
Yeah, I can read it first. Like
Closing
I said,
comments, your rating.
yeah. Looking back at the track list, the only two songs, "Trapped on the Ice" and "Escape," not terrible. It's very lackluster, so it does get points off for not being 100% phenomenal. But I mean, Fade to Black. Just thinking of the memories, man. I'm gonna give this album a 9.6. It's gonna be high. I know I usually rate stuff higher than the. I'm usually the one that rates stuff higher, between the three of us. But just like it only loses those 0.4 points because Escape and Chapter in the Ice aren't as good as everything as these phenomenal songs.
I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and give mine.
Yeah, go. Yeah, you can go.
Sadly,
you're not gonna offend me. You're not gonna offend me. I'll say that.
Okay, I had it at a 5. 10, and then we discussed a little bit further, and then I realized if most of these songs I'm not gonna listen to, why would I rate the album that high? So I gave it a 4.
All right.
Not terrible.
I get that.
Not at all.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's some really great songs in this album, and this is definitely an album that I can listen to like several times over again. I wouldn't get tired of it. My problem with it though is that there's really nothing new that it brings to the table. So I've been kind of fighting with myself. Imagine like what kind of rating would I give this? Because I was gonna give it like 7.8, but I feel like that's way too high. But then I'm getting close to giving it a 6.1. I'm like, that's way too low. And then I was going to come down to a 6.2. I'd say I'm going to split down the middle. I'm going to give it a 6.7.
Right.
I think it's a solid album. And I feel like people should definitely listen to this, especially if they're like metal fans and they haven't listened to this yet. This is definitely something they should give at least a shot if they haven't already. This album, I wouldn't say it's particularly like an album for me, but there are songs that are in it for me.
Oh yeah, Fade to Black.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love this. I love that song.
So, that I think great talk. I'm glad I got you to sit down with you guys and talk some music for you this week. Much more as we can say here. Tune in next week. Kellen's pick for the album. Kellen, have you narrowed down what you're actually going to choose for next week?
No, actually, I have not. So only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Yeah, so tune in next week for a surprise album that Kellen is going to pick for us. You can listen to our weekly podcast. Tune in every week. We should have them more on like I'm going to say beginning of the week. We don't have a complete time frame. But if you want more from three of us, check us out on 88.1 Highlander Radio. We got a morning show from Wednesdays and Fridays. They run from 5 to 8 a.m. Start your morning commute with us. We really appreciate it. But as from me, Tyler, and Kellen, have a great day, everybody, and thanks for listening.